questionable hair. We're streaming. Hello internet. Welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and this week we are talking about your hobbies. How to talk about your hobbies is our topic for this week. Bye. So, as you join, don't forget to send a message in the chat and like the video, share the video. We really appreciate it. We'll be starting in about 2 to 3 minutes if you're watching live. If you're not watching live, you can fast forward a little bit unless you want to stay for announcements. Hi YouTube, I see the YouTube chat is up. Facebook is up already too. That was fast. Woo. Awesome. Okay. Hi everybody. Send your messages. Hey everybody in YouTube chat. Juan, hello again. Fabio, Gaetan, Kuroraberu no hito. Hi Daniel, Gustavo, Victor. Hi. Trang and Slavenko and Aireza and Ronald and Bashir. Hi everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us again this week. As I said, we're talking about hobbies today. So we're going to begin in about 2 minutes now. While we wait for others to join us, announcements. Let's see, what did I send you to talk about today? Oh yes, there's a new, if you have not checked the YouTube channel recently, or the website for that matter, there's a new version or a new look for the weekly Q&A series. So now we're shooting it here in the studio with some really nice equipment with the help of the crew. So the first episode of that new series, or that new look, is on the channel now. Yay! So please check this out. I can't point in the right direction today, so please check this out. I'm really excited about this, and I'm trying lots of kind of new and different things with presentation and editing. So of course, as always, thanks for sending your questions. Keep them coming. But watch on the channel for this new thing, this new sort of presentation of our weekly Q&A, because that's exciting. I think it's really super exciting. So check that out. All right. Good. Okay, everybody. Wow, there are lots of people watching. Fantastic. Hi, guys. Okay, then I guess we'll get to, our main topic. As I said, today's topic is talking about your hobbies. So I did choose kind of a key grammar point for today. Today's key grammar point, I want to talk about the present perfect tense and the present simple tense, like simple present tense. So we change between these two tenses a lot when we're sharing our life experiences. So I do want to talk a little bit about doing that naturally. So for today's sort of flow, our lesson flow for today, we'll look at an introduction. So how to ask about your hobbies is one. So I'll give you a few patterns you can use there. Then we'll talk about responses for that, how to share, and then kind of some leveled up ways to do that as well. So some review to start. Then second part, we'll be giving details. There's not a lot here. We'll fill this in later. And then third, I'm going to talk about frequency-related expressions. So frequency means how often you do that thing. So like every day, every week, once, twice, those kinds of expressions. So let us begin. Did you see my dumb joke on the internet about the word lettuce? That's okay. Lots of people did though. Okay, let's get started. First, when you're asking a question about someone's hobbies, I'll slow down, sorry. When you ask questions about someone's hobbies, I do not recommend the question, what is your hobby? So many of my students, and I've heard learners use, what is your hobby? Like, there's no communication problem, but that's not a natural question. So instead of, what is your hobby, try this one. What do you like to do in your free time? What do you like to do in your free time? I hope you guys can see that. It's not so bright. What do you like to do in your free time? So the word hobby, thank you. The word hobby is not here actually. There's no hobby here. But this question is much more commonly used in everyday conversations, especially in like introductory conversations. What do you like to do in your free time? A couple points here. First, this. You'll see this in a few patterns today, I think. This do you, we reduce the do and you together. What do you, it's not what do you, but what do you do? What do you, or what do you like to do? Or we can remove this, what do you do in your free time? So we can remove this like to. What do you do in your free time is another good question to ask. What do you do in your free time? Or what do you like to do in your free time? Both are nice. Okay, I'll come back to these points in just a moment. These are a couple key grammar points I mentioned. But first, let's review. To answer this question, what do you like to do in your free time? There are a couple patterns, two basic patterns I want to begin with today. What do you like to do in your free time? I like, followed by some verb in the ing form. I like something, something-ing. I like hiking. I like skiing. I like scuba diving. I like cooking. I like taking pictures, for example. So these are all patterns that use this ing form here. So you can send in your examples, and I'll try to check the chat as well. So what do you like to do in your free time? I like something, something-ing is one pattern you can use to reply. Then you can use the infinitive form of the verb. I like to plus your verb. I like to ski. I like to take photos. I like to cook. So both are correct. You can use them. I would say for for sports especially, we'll often use the ing form. Like I like playing basketball. I like playing golf. But generally, you can choose which of these two patterns you prefer. So I like, listening to music. I like studying languages, maybe, for example. So send a few examples. Someone says, I like wasting time. Is that a hobby? Interesting. Grammatically correct. I like reading. Good. Okay. I like watching videos on YouTube. Perfect. I like listening to music. Good. I like to work. Is working your hobby? Very interesting, Alireza on Facebook. I like to work every day. Good. I like playing football. I like sleeping. Me too. I am a professional sleeper. Someone has written, I like to watching TV. Careful. I like to watch TV. Okay. Or I like watching TV. We can't combine to plus the ing form of the verb, so be careful there. I like going to rock concerts. Cool. I love to surf the internet. Surf the internet. Surf the internet. Good ones, guys. Okay, so this is the basic way to introduce your hobby. Now, let's talk about something a little more, like I said, leveled up. So let's go to these two questions. I have these 2 points here. These are the two grammar points I want to focus on today. They are do you ever and have you ever. Do you ever and have you ever. What's the difference between these two? I will answer. So do you ever is a simple present tense question. So that means do you ever is a question about your activities now. Do you ever cook? Do you ever study? Do you ever listen to music? Do you ever go to concerts, for example? Do you ever? This is now. Your activities in your life right now, like recently, your recent activities. This one, however, have you ever? I think many of you have studied this pattern. Have you ever is a life experience question. A life experience question. Have you ever plus we'll use the past participle of the verb here. Like, have you ever, cooked Italian food? Sorry, my writing is terrible. Past participle form. Have you ever been to France, for example? That's a classic one I use. But this is a current activities question. Do you ever? This is a life experience question. So you can use both of these to ask about your conversation partner's hobbies. So, for example, do you ever cook Italian food? You find out here, this person likes cooking. You can follow up with, do you ever cook Italian food? Do you ever cook Thai food? So, follow up with this question. You can ask then about a life experience point with this one. Have you ever cooked Japanese food? Meaning, at any point in your life, do you have this experience? Have you ever? Good. Have you ever been to the USA? Good. Have you ever seen the rain in Africa? What? That's an interesting comment, viewer. Okay. I like to read. Yeah, good. Okay, so do you ever is a current activities question. Let's keep this point in your mind. We're going to come back to this a little bit later. Okay, so this is our introduction for today. I'll come back to a couple of these a bit later. So if you have questions, send them along. All right, but for now, let us take a break. Today's topic is about hobbies, so I chose a few things that you guys might be interested in. Shopping. Let's talk about this one. So free stuff, as always this week, your free stuff. I chose this one. I know many people like shopping as kind of I don't know if it's a hobby or something you like to do. Anyway, we'll go over here. As always, the free stuff in the link below the video on YouTube and above the video on Facebook has free PDFs. This is one example. I'll get closer. This one is about shopping. So I know many people like shopping, but this is a great chance to find some vocabulary words about topics you enjoy. So this is some verbs for shopping, not only for shopping, but these could be very useful, as well as some other helpful vocabulary points. Questions too, great. So if you like shopping, if shopping is one of your hobbies, you can check out this PDF. It is in the link below the video on YouTube and above the video on Facebook. Don't check the chat box, please check the description below the video and not the chat box. So find that and I'll show you some other free stuff a bit later, but definitely check that out. Go download that. It's free from EnglishClass101.com. All right, good. So with that, let's get back to our topic for today, talking about your hobbies. If you're just joining, don't forget to hit the like button and share the video if you haven't already. I'm going to go to the second part of today's lesson now. Part 2 for today is about sharing details. So this is very open here. We're going to fill in some information in this section. So let's begin. First question I want to introduce. This is asking for details. So the idea here is you started your conversation, you asked about the person's hobbies, you learned, like for example, they like cooking. So how do you ask for more information about that? So let's imagine it's about cooking in this case. So what kind of something do you like? What kind of something do you like? This is a follow-up detail question about someone's hobbies. So what kind of food do you like, for example, is a good detailed question to ask. If the person likes watching movies, what kind of movies do you like? So these are genre-related questions. So right here, this is a good keyword maybe for this section. Introduce a genre. So genre, the spelling is G-E-N-R-E, genre. The pronunciation is genre, not genre, but genre. So choose some or some topic or genre. Sorry, maybe genre was the wrong word here. Some kind of topic, a larger topic question. So what kind of food, what kind of movies, what kind of photos do you like taking? Asking a bigger question so that they can give you some more detailed information. What kind of something do you like? What kind of music do you like is another good one. Another point here is this kind of. So when we're speaking in everyday conversations, we reduce this kind of to kinda. What kinda? So that's how it sounds. Not what kind of movies do you like, but what kind of movies do you like? What kind of food do you like? What kind of movies do you like? What kind of music do you like? Good. What kind of sports do you like? What kind of cuisine? That's kind of a high-level question. What kind of food is maybe more general? What kind of songs do you like? Nice. Music. Good. You guys get it. Nice. So it's kind of like a category question. Categories may be a better word than a genre. I should slow down. Okay. So let's compare this now to this question. What something do you like? What something? So this is a really open question because there are so many different hobbies, really. But what something do you like? You'll notice here, there's no kind of. There's no kind of in this part. So that means this is not a category question. It could be. You could say, what food do you like? But this is better if you're going to ask a big category question. Here, instead, ask something specific to the hobby. Ask something specific to the hobby. So, for example, if you are talking with someone who likes music, you could ask, what artists do you like? What artists, plural, artists do you like? If you're talking with someone who likes movies, you could say, what directors do you like? So you're asking kind of a more specific question, that's about that person's hobby in particular. So you could ask about movies, you could ask about restaurants, if the person likes food. So a point here is that we're looking at the plural forms of these words. What artists, what directors, what restaurants do you like? So when you're doing when you're having a conversation like this and you're looking for these details, these specific points, it's kind of a good idea to start with something really famous. So for example, what artists do you like? If it's about music, it's like, oh, I like Michael Jackson, I like David Bowie. And then if the other person says, yeah, me too, you can kind of get more and more specific as the conversation continues. So what kind of something is a bigger topic, and then what specific hobby-related question do you like can get a little bit more detailed. Nice ones, guys. What drinks do you like? Good. Okay. What actors do you like? Nice one. Okay. Other things. What lessons do you like? That's a good question for you guys. What lessons do you like on the channel? You can answer that. So, how do you respond? Just use I like. You could use that for an artist. I like someone ''S's work or music or food, for example, or just a simple I like statement is good. So these are a couple of ways that you can answer this question. I like is good. I like Alicia's teaching. Thanks. Okay. All right. Good. So a couple of basic, I think, patterns, a little bit of review, I think. Okay. What time is it? 20 minutes past. I shall take another break. I shall check the chat, though, too. What season do you like? That's an interesting question. I like autumn. Autumn is clearly the best. I will fight you. Okay. All right. Other things. I don't see any other ones. What teachers do you like? Yeah, good. There are lots of teachers on YouTube, I think. There are lots of good, kind of different channels as well. It's really interesting. Okay, but let's take a quick break again here. Let's go to a popular hobby, food. I'll go over here. So let's go to a popular hobby, food, eating. This is one of my hobbies, actually. I love food. I love eating. So this is another one of the free things you can find from the link in the description. This one's about food. So there's some vocabulary points about food here. a couple of, key questions you can use at a restaurant. Can I have, for example, and back here, some food-related vocabulary words again, but down, that's hard to see, sorry. Down here, there we go. You have some comments that you can use when you are at the restaurant. Sorry, it's hard to show you guys this. It looks tasty, for example, or it lacks salt. Ooh, that's a problem. So these are some expressions that you can use at restaurants. If you are into food, into something means you like that thing, you're interested in that thing. You can check this out, as well as all of this other stuff I showed you a little earlier. This is all free stuff you can find from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, above the video if you're watching on Facebook. Check the description, not the chat box, please. So find that stuff and get it, download it. It's all for free. But I'll finish up today. If you're just joining, today's lesson is about hobbies. We're talking about hobbies and kind of reviewing some expressions for asking and answering hobby-related questions. Let's finish today with frequency points. Frequency. Frequency means how often. How often do you do something? Frequency. So I want to go back to this point I introduced at the beginning of today's lesson. Do you versus have you. This present tense and present perfect tense question. Over here, we'll see a present perfect, in this case, present perfect progressive question. So the question, the pattern really, is how long have you been, plus your hobby, and then the ing form. Sorry, it's hard to see. How long have you been hobbying? For example, how long have you been cooking? How long have you been playing music? How long have you been hiking? How long have you been making videos on the internet? How long have you been directing this show? So, how long have you been, plus some kind of ing form. You can use this for topics other than hobbies. You could use this for work as well. So, how do you respond to this question? Again, hard to see because my handwriting is bad. But to respond, you can use an expression like a few, and then using the plural form, you can use a few weeks, a few months, a few years. So some of you have asked about pronunciation of this word, months. A few months. I've been cooking for a few months, or I've been cooking for a few years, for example. You could use many. You could say many years. We do not use many with weeks or months, really. We do use many with years. So I would use many here. It sounds a little strange if you say many weeks, so don't use that. Use many years. I've been cooking for many years. That's a good one. How long have you been teaching? Good one. Other ones. Okay, how often? Oh, someone has a different style question. How often do you study English? Yeah, I'll come to that in just a second. So this is one way. Another answer. How long have you been doing that thing? We can use a number, like 2 days, or 2 weeks, or 3 months, for example. So this is a number pattern. Are we gonna zoom? Sorry, I don't know. Okay, cool. So here you can, this is a number, just a number sign. So 2 days, 3 weeks, and so on. You'll notice also, this is not a complete sentence. I'm not using it like a complete sentence. I'm not saying, I've been cooking for 3 years. You can answer that way if you want to. I've been cooking for 3 years. But just this part, just the time period is fine. That's totally fine. It's very natural to use just the time period. Okay, finally, one more example. If it's something very recent, so like yesterday or last week you started, you can use this. Like, how long have you been studying French? Like, you can say, I just started. I just started. So this point here, just, gives, like, it emphasizes a recent activity, a very recently started activity. I just started studying. So this is a great one to use for a recent thing. Carlo, nice one. I just started reading a book. Good one, good one. Other ones. How long have I been in Facebook? We've been on Facebook for 26 minutes now. Ooh, that means I have to finish. Okay, so let's go on to the last points for this lesson. Someone in the chat already mentioned this pattern. How often do you? So I mentioned, I mentioned this point. I mentioned this do you versus have you point at the beginning of the lesson. Sorry, I've got the giggles. I mentioned this point at the beginning of the lesson. How often do you? So this do you, this is a present tense question. Present tense. Our previous question was how long have you? How long, is this creepy? How long have you? That's creepy. How long have you done something? This, how often do you, means like every day now, in your life now. How often do you do that thing? So, for example, how often do you watch movies at the movie theater, for example? Once a week, once a month, twice a week, twice a month, for example. Or the same thing, we can use a number pattern, like 3 times a week, or so your number of times as an expression, 3 times a week, or like 4 times a year, for example, depending on your hobby. So this is a present tense. What do you do now? How often do you do that thing now? Others, let's see. Send your examples in the chat if you like. How often do you teach English in a day? Depends on the day. So that's another way to answer. So depends. Depends. My answer just now, it depends on the day. That means my answer changes depending on the day. So if it's like today, it's like, well, I teach English once on this day because it's a live stream, for example. Okay. Nice. I play football twice a day. Wow, nice. How often do you go to the movies is the question. How long have you been reading? Okay, sounds good. How often do you cook? Okay, a couple points. I see a couple of you in the chat. Be careful. If you're using this, this pattern, how long have you been, the present perfect pattern, how long have you been something something? Yes, use this ing form. If you're using the present tense, how long do you, or sorry, how often do you? This pattern uses the simple present tense. So no ing form here. Simple present tense. How often do you cook? How often do you watch movies? How often do you hike? How often do you scuba dive? How often do you? Present tense. So no ing form there. Simple present tense. How often do you play football? Good. Good. How often do you teach English on YouTube? Like 5 days a week at this point. I don't even know. Live once a week. Live once a week. Okay. How often do you shower in a day? That is a very interesting question. I think the answer is once for each person. I think that's the standard reply. I'm gonna go with that. All right, let's finish with a couple more frequency expressions that native speakers love to use, and then we'll be done for today. So frequency, again, these are how often. These are answers to how often questions. So first one down here is this one. Every now and then. Every now and then. Every now and then at native speed. So in a situation, how often do you cook? Every now and then. Every now and then. This means sometimes. Sometimes. Same thing here. Every once in a while is the second one. How often do you cook? Every once in a while. every once in a while. The next one is whenever I feel like it. Whenever I feel like it. How often do you cook? Whenever I feel like it. So this means whenever I feel like it, where it is the hobby. Whenever I feel like doing the hobby is what this means. So this means according to my feelings. If I want to do that, I'll do it. If I don't want to do that, I won't do it. So whenever I feel like it. How often do you cook? Whenever I feel like it. Finally, for kind of rare things, maybe like travel. If someone likes traveling, how often do you travel? This is a couple, so probably two, a couple times a year. A couple times a year. So how often do you travel? A couple times a year. This is another common example, couple, or maybe a few times a year. So these are a couple of like phrases that native speakers use to talk about frequency. So you can try these, yeah. Whenever sounds like when-never. Ah, interesting, yeah, whenever. Good. How often do you visit your parents? Nice questions, guys. How often do you watch TV? Good. How often do you give English grammar lessons? Usually once a week. You can check on the YouTube channel. It's usually once a week or so. Or if you're watching on Facebook, there's like a loop of whiteboard videos, whiteboard lectures. Lots of grammar there, so check it out. Okay, I'm going to finish up there. Nice questions, guys. If you have other questions, send them in the chat. I will check the chat after this lesson. So if you have other questions, please do send them. If you're watching on Instagram, please send questions via YouTube or Facebook. That would be awesome. Thank you. But I've got to finish there for today. So thanks as always for joining us live again this week. Next week, we'll be back. Wow, October 3rd. Amazing. This year is going so quickly. Next week, our topic will be talking about your education. So what did you study? What was your major? Where did you graduate from? We're going to use some of these patterns we talked about this week, actually. So it'll be a little grammar review next week. So please join us next week, October 3rd, for how to talk about your education. Your studies. This will be useful for, of course, meeting people, but also job interviews. I know many of you have asked about job interview questions and answers. So please join us next week. That will be next week, Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is New York City time. If you don't know that time in your city, please Google it. Hello. So I'll finish up there for today. Thank you guys, as always, for sending your questions and your comments in the chat. Keep them coming. Check out the new stuff that's on the YouTube channel for sure. And grab your free stuff for this week. There's all kinds of things. If you have not downloaded them already, you can find the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. Thanks very much for joining. Thanks for liking and sharing. Have a good night, have a good day, have a good weekend, and I will see you again next week. Bye.